a jail, that's not an easy thing to redevelop, actually. You know, big walls around it.
Oh, really? It just screams S&M club.
Do you think we need one in the Highlands? I mean, I don't know if there is one.
What would you
know?
We should ask those barrel party moms.
Welcome to So Highlands, a new provocative podcast from an old school local, Nicole Smith, and self-confessed transplant, Rachael Oakes Ash. It's the podcast that says what we're all thinking, because regional living comes with its own conversation. Recorded on the land of the Gundungurra people.
Here we go. This is going to go well.
I think this is going so well. Shall we start with your disclaimer, Nicole?
So my name's Nicole Smith and I am a counsellor, but the opinions I express here are my personal opinions, not those of Wingecarribee Shire Council.
I'm glad you put in Wingecarribee there, because when you first said you were a counsellor, I thought, oh God, you're a therapist.
Please. No,
what have I actually
might
been saying
as well
to you?
be.
What a response we've had. The rumours have just been flying, haven't they?
Oh my goodness. I cannot believe that we had rumours coming back to you before we'd actually even launched. That is my absolute favourite. You have to say about the Real Housewives of the
I was in the rabbit hole. There you go. First name drop. I was in the rabbit hole in Barrel, and Billy Rose, who works there, who's just divine and lovely, says to me, I heard that you fed the Daily Telegraph the story on the Barrel Party mums to pre-promote your podcast. And I was like, oh, it's not a bad idea. I wish I had done that.
Why did we not think of that?
Oh,
Why did we not think of that? So you didn't?
No.
You didn't.
Well, do I look like a plant? Not really. Okay, so we're going to talk today about Berrima Gaol.
There's a proposal in for it to be redeveloped into a hotel, wellness centre, that sort of thing.
Blue Sox Developments bought it in 2023 for $7 million. And the local community, I think, were offering $3 million together or something. I think they could have done better than that, just quietly. There's a lot of rich people in Berrima to try to buy it as well. They lost out. According to one of our guests today, 13 people had bids for it, but we can't get that.
I don't know. I don't know
by anyone.
If that's confirmed, but there was more than one bid for it.
Yeah, and so they've put in a proposal and plans and everything for a boutique hotel. 55 rooms, isn't it?
I think that's right.
It's got quite a history, Berrima Gaol, though, doesn't it? Who's been in that jail?
Well, that's it. I think some very interesting inmates. Eddie O'Bead spent some time in there.
And his mate, Roger Rogerson.
I imagine that.
Oh, my God, the woman that was hanged. Not just, do you say hanged or hunged or hung? Well, I don't know.
Well,
anyway.
it depends. We could go down another bad path.
So
with it.
Letitia, is that her name? Letitia?
I think so.
Cardinay or something like that. I don't know. Lucinda. Anyway, she starts with L.
Yes.
And let me just double check, because people will come down on us for this. Her
Get our
name
facts
is
right.
Lucretia.
Oh, well,
Lucretia Dunkley. No, Dunkley. Lucretia Dunkley. She was a murderer with her husband. They murdered people. And they both got hung at Berrima Gaol, and then they got their heads chopped off, and they retained their skulls because they wanted to see if their skull told them anything about what murderers do.
I think, didn't their skulls go to the museum or something in Sydney?
You probably can still see it, can you?
I think they still exist.
Here they go, given to a local surgeon so he could study the skulls.
Who was the surgeon?
And they were donated to Sydney's Australian Museum. Oh, who was the local surgeon?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to find that out.
I wonder if there's any relatives here.
Richard Barnett. Isn't he a doctor? Who's Richard Barnett? Stephen Barnett. Richard Barnett is a doctor. He's a plastic surgeon in Sydney. Don't ask me how I know.
Have to give some context. It's an old jail. It was built in the 1800s. It's sandstone. I mean, the fascinating thing is Berrima was still operating it as a jail up until 2020.
Wow.
I think. It's had a really mixed history. It's been a range of things.
But in World War I, it actually housed a lot of German people who were allowed out during the day and had to come back at night, and nocturnal animals come back at night, but during the day
I think nocturnal animals
it's the other way around
at night. Yeah.
Okay, like normal animals. So anyway, and they had, if you do the Berrima River Walk, and I love this bit, where you do the Berrima River Walk and there's these little plaques, and the plaques talk about these huts that the German interns
Yes.
built along the river, and some of them had illegal radios and some of them had distilleries.
Oh,
I just
really?
think it
I didn't
was
know
so
that.
fun.
I didn't know
wish
that.
they'd kept them, but obviously they were all torn down, and the jail also burnt down in 1940 something.
Yeah,
and then
I
was
think
remade.
the interiors of it.
Right, okay.
So not the whole
So
thing.
there is quite a history to it, and I guess we're going to be talking to Jenny Hunter later this morning or today. We don't even know what time you're listening to this. So about why they want to retain the jail as a museum over a hotel.
Yeah.
But the hotel plans are pretty spectacular from where I'm standing.
And I think it was really interesting to really see what the designs are, how they're going to work. I think there is some contentious aspects. People are concerned about there's a jail wall, but then they're looking to do some hotel rooms outside of the wall. And I think that's the more contentious side.
But it's still within the hotel land boundaries.
Correct.
The company still owns that land, and it's above the it is the escarpment, and it's above the river.
Yes.
But I think everyone wants everything within the jail walls, which is really difficult to do, and retain the jail heritage to do that at the same time.
I don't think everyone wants that. I think this is the whole
just
question.
Jenny and her friends. Jenny from the block.
Lexi.
Jenny from the Berrima block. Oh, she'll hate me saying that. Oh, well. I'm not here to make friends. Clearly. Anyway, shall we have a chat to the architect from Turner Studio?
I think that would be great
Let's have
because
a
I
chat,
think he'll have a lot of insights for us, and I'm really interested to find out what their vision is. And I feel like I think they've been working on this for a while. Before we speak to him, I think it's important to understand as well, this is what's classed as a state significant development. So that means that the decision will be made with the state. It's not a local council issue. Council will make submissions, I'm sure, but it's because of the size. When developments get to a certain size and value, they're considered state significant.
Thank you, Councillor Smith. So
Just a little factual
No, but
thing.
it's true. And also
Yeah.
that it has to go through the National Trust process and heritage process, etc. There's 1,000 processes before they even start digging ground to build the car park, which will be underground, by the way. I think we're now going to chat to Dan Szwaj, who is the design director of the Berrima Gaol. He's an architect and director of Turner, or Turner Studios, Turner Architects, whatever you want to call it. And they have a huge portfolio of really stunning projects from around the world. I think Dan worked on the Waterloo precinct, the Metro Waterloo, is doing the Shelbourne Hotel, which is a heritage one as well. But what we really want to talk about, of course, is Berrima Gaol. Welcome to our podcast, Dan.
Welcome,
Yeah,
Dan.
thank you.
Can you describe what Berrima Gaol is and what your overall vision is for it, Dan?
The brief has been consistent in terms of a hotel, restaurant, accommodation precinct. So it's not. It's never been about providing housing or townhouses and things like that. I think there's been some thought or some comments about that. So it's always been pretty clear that it's a bespoke hotel, or boutique, and that it's really informed by the jail, the character of the jail. So that's something that's always come first. The intention is to celebrate the heritage significance and open up to all the grounds to the locals, and to make it a place to I suppose experience, be able to go back inside the jail and offer it up as a hotel and accommodation within the area.
What's the challenge when you're actually working with a heritage listed property? A lot, I would imagine.
It's both the physical attributes of the jail itself, but it's also I think the social value that the jail has within the community and the broader area. So that there's a lot of gravitas that brings with it and consideration. So it's not something that you take lightly, or you approach it in a way that there's an easy solution to it, or you need to let the jail kind of tell you what it wants to be, and working closely with the different heritage aspects of that. So our team wasn't just about design, it was also about heritage, conservation, adaptive reuse, and working through the different layers of, I suppose, the design process we need to adopt.
There's a function space as well, though, which quite a few people have been talking about. They're concerned about 300 seated weddings being held in the middle of Berrima at midnight. Can you talk to us about that space?
There's broadly, there's a number of different spaces that we've looked at. There's the Argyle Street frontage, and there's the Wingecarribee Road, which is where the Grey car park is. Within the jail, we've looked at the spaces there, and the layout and the format of the two courtyards really inform how we start to look at it. So we divided the space into 4 quarters using the guards tower as that kind of central point. And so we have an internal space which can be used for functions. We have an external space. So yes, it has the capacity for weddings. It could be in terms of functions and for other activities as well. So it's quite flexible. It can be divided into 2 spaces, so it could be for smaller events as well. There needs to be an operational management plan that's put together and it's been submitted that talks about operating hours and noise levels. So a lot of those things need to be managed and controlled. So if there are concerns about noise, this is a time for people to comment on that as well. But there's an acoustic report that responds to those items. So we envisage that the courtyard space would be daytime. I think the noise issues need to be managed. That's an ongoing aspect of the operations. But what we looked at was creating these spaces that could be used for different events. But they also need to be managed by the operator as well as they go through.
Yeah, of course.
So the internal one space has also got a layer, so it's got an airlock through that space so that you don't just enter these function spaces from the outside, you actually move through them internally, which is quite a traditional approach to how you manage those spaces.
Speaking of traditional, what consultation have you done with the local Indigenous communities?
So in terms of that, connecting with country, so for design within New South Wales, there's a framework that's been established for connecting with country and design with country. So we, through a connecting with country consultant, we work with them and they set up and manage the different forums. And so they reach out directly to the different communities. So we've had sessions at the jail with local groups who have been invited or responded to the invites. And also we've had a couple of online sessions as well for people that couldn't make it there. So that's informed the process. It's represented in our design report, so we've been really transparent with all the work we've done. And it was really interesting to get the feedback and see how it shaped and started to change our early thinking, because that was one of the things we did quite early as well.
Well, you have done a lot of changes as the project has developed in consultation with the community. There's a lot of rumours flying around Berrima, as there always is, with or without a jail, just quietly. One of them, of course, is that a local Indigenous elder has mentioned that the river is a particular burial site.
In the community engagement sessions that has come up, but we haven't heard anything in terms of any findings. So that's something that needs to be brought up. So I don't think our team is trying to hide anything like that. So if it comes up, we need to address it and work with it. But one of the key things is not to be too close to the escarpment. So that was one of the primary things that we changed. Yeah.
In your report, you talk about how to actually put all of the accommodation within the walls of the jail compromises the heritage. So that's why you've chosen to put the hotel rooms. How many on the escarpment?
There's about 48 from memory. I mean, this is short stay accommodation. We're expecting people to have a weekend there, not to be living there. And the approval is definitely not for long-term accommodation. It's only short-term. The initial thoughts and that came out from the client was to locate the hotel rooms within the jail. And to actually have the function space at the back of the jail. And so that was really interesting, and it kind of made sense before you understand the site and you start understanding how it functions. But we saw the opportunity. One of the first visits that I did there was, as soon as that front door opens to the jail, everyone's kind of gathering around. They really want to come in and see what's going on. It's kind of like this big secret door. So we quickly, well, I wouldn't say quickly, but we understood that there's probably 2 ways to look at this. One is to have all the hotel suites inside and the function space outside, or we invert it, so we actually open up the jail for use as function, restaurant, bar, wellness centre that's accessible for other people in the community and visitors to access, not just hotel guests. and then to put the hotel suites at the back of the jail where the former industry building is and the sheds. So that was an inverse to open it up so that it becomes something where it's not just about the hotel guests getting access and being exclusive in that circumstance of a hotel setup, but to make it broadly open so you can walk in. And there's other things that benefits in terms of having an interpretive wayfinding, displaying some of the original artefacts and even the layout of the former jail within the ground plane. So there's an interpretation piece that needs to come with the next stage.
I'm really interested by the design of the hotel accommodation outside. It was, to me, reminiscent of, say, Bundanon and the bridge and that sort of thing.
Yeah. One other thing to note is there's courtyards inside. There's a space called the sterile zone around the walls, which there's a lot of prisoner kind of language and I suppose the architecture of prisons where it was an exclusive zone. So around that, we're looking at having it as a landscape interstitial space between the buildings and the wall with inside, and that's JMD Landscape Architects have really done a really nice job in terms of the concept. But at the back of jail, there's this little door that leads into the industry building, and we really like that surprise about the you arrive in the jail and there's this secret door which is quite small and then releases you into the back of the jail, which is unexpected. So you've got this really formal landscape within the front of the jail, which we're keeping. It's very structured and it has that presence to the town centre. And then at the back, it's that natural setting, which is a view overlooking the escarpment towards the river. So we kind of like that change in terms of that threshold and you're being released into a different environment.
I guess this potentially isn't a question for you. It's more for Blue Sox or the hotel management. Some people have expressed concern that there isn't a demand for a boutique hotel of 55 rooms in Berrima and it will end up just a relic down the track. Has that concern been brought to you?
It's been both sides. Some, and I totally understand, there's commentary that there's too many rooms and there's also from operators that there's not enough rooms. But we are talking about a boutique hotel. It's not designed for volume. It is about, it's quite a unique experience through there. The other hotels that we looked at were Jackalope, and there's
I love that
really
one.
Beautiful hotel in Sri Lanka, Kandalama, which was designed by Jeffrey Bauer, which is is quite a linear type building and has that outlook over there, which is quite different. So there's a number of different hotels we looked at, and we looked at them either for adaptive reuse, their context within a jail, or the landscape. Each hotel, I think, needs to respond to its context and offering.
So are we looking more at urban weekenders or are we looking at internationals coming down during the week? Or
the weekdays versus weekends is a really interesting one from an operational point of view, and not necessarily from a design, but we need to manage that.
We haven't really touched on the environment. Obviously, that riparian zone, we know there are platypus in the Winchakarabi. I'm assuming that's been a big part of the consideration for the designs and the plans?
Yeah, definitely. So from the environmental point of view, there's a number of different zones that we need to be cognizant of and respectful of. So there's the river, there's the escarpment, and there's the area at the back of the jail. And so we've had specific detailed studies done, looked at experts that study the flora and fauna. Also, there's the bushfire management that we need to consider as well. So through that process and in our report, you'll see that we've actually looked at a number of different outcomes or approaches. And the one that we landed on was to have the hotel accommodation at the back of the jail along the wall. It's quite linear, rather than having it closer to the edge of the escarpment and with the river down below. So we've pulled that back in response to a lot of those items, and also in response to feedback that we've had from independent design review panels that assess these projects as they go through government.
What's the next step for Berrima Gaol once all the submissions are in?
So the next stage is the assessment process. So the comments, feedback from the community through the Department of Planning. That will be considered, and we will be responding to comments that come back from Department of Planning. They'll have lots of comments. There'll be discussions about certain reports, and they'll have their assessment, and we'll need to respond to it. So there's a period of time that we need to address, respond to, and refine what we're doing, and that's normally a 6-month process at best. So these things take a while. And following that, ideally we and hopefully we move into the next stage, which is more focused on the delivery of the project. So as a team, we're really excited about it.
So we're looking forward to seeing what eventuates and the hotel, opening the doors on the hotel ourselves. Is it 2028 or 2029?
In that order. These things take a while.
Okay, so we'll see you in 2035. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Now for the flip side. We're going to talk to Jenny Hunter, who Berrima Heritage Matters, which is an organisational-led community group who are, would the word be protesting the Berrima Jail or asking for change?
No, we're advocating on behalf of the Berrima Jail, wanting to protect its heritage and history. So we're advocates for the jail and for the village.
Great.
For the whole village? Is everybody on board with your advocacy?
No, not at all. No, we live in a democracy. Some people have different opinions. So, but
we don't like those people though, do we?
We live in a democracy. Our position on this started from 2 community meetings last year. At the first community meeting, 100% bar one of people attending understood that something had to happen with the jail. At the second community meeting, there was a show of hands of 80% of people attending that meeting was not in favour of new construction outside the jail walls. And that's long been our position. We've adopted that position from that time.
So, Jenny, can you explain a little bit about what your concerns are and why, like, you've just touched on that about outside the jail walls. Can you explain a bit more, please?
Okay, so the jail walls are state heritage listed, and what's called the curtilage of the jail also has heritage status. So we want to protect that. I don't know whether you've seen the drawings, but the 49 hotel units outside the western wall completely obliterate the western wall, the view of the western wall. The fact that Blue Sox believe that's adaptive reuse, we don't agree with that. We think that monolithic block just disrespects the heritage of that wall.
So the block itself actually isn't as high as the wall. It's still below that top height of the wall, the block of hotel units, and it's been brought back away from the edge of the escarpment. Is that as a result of your activity, like your
feedback?
No, that's as a result of the State Design Review Panel who expressed concern about that block. There was originally another a previous iteration of it, and the State Design Review Panel said, can you please go and have a look at it? My recollection of the documents is the State Design Review Panel is still not really happy with the size, the monolithic nature of the block. It is the same height as the jail wall, so it's not below the jail wall. So that's where the change in the design came from, not us.
So do you want a hotel there, or do you want something different?
We're happy with the hotel inside the jail walls. Be terrific. Love it.
Okay, and how many rooms would you like that hotel to be?
Oh, I'm not an architect. I couldn't work that out. I don't. I need to stay in my lane.
I love it. That's awesome. Stay in my lane. So you did speak about when we chatted to you off the podcast. We did talk about the museum and people that had actually bid to buy the jail. You had a community group together trying to buy the jail before Blue Sox, is that right?
I wasn't part of it, but yes, there was a community group which Eric and Paul Nemeth from our group were part of, and others. Plus, there were 13 bids altogether. The community bid was one. And we don't know who all the other bids were, but there was certainly a strong community bid which envisaged protecting the heritage more significantly than the Blue Sox bid does.
You mentioned a museum. I mean, to me, when you walk down the streets of Berrima, Berrima is a museum. It's a Georgian village. It's every piece of architecture you turn to is a museum piece in itself. How much and how big of a museum do you want in the jail?
Again, don't know the answer. Don't know the specific answer to that. But what we would like to see is a museum that reflected the 181-year criminal justice history of the jail. And we'd like it to be a modern style museum, museums are much more engaging these days. For example, there's a lot of school children that go through Berrima. Every day there's buses and buses of school kids on their way to Canberra for their civics at Parliament House. We'd love them to come to our museum and perhaps even stay overnight in some cell block accommodation. So the museum has to fit with I guess I'd leave that to a museum designer in the end, but it would be modern, state-of-the-art, engaging, not your old-fashioned museum. What
would be a great outcome from your point of view? Because you're not saying don't do anything, are you?
No. We know something has to happen. So for us, it is inside the jail walls, and we can see hotel accommodation of some sort, function centre, a smaller function centre. The current function centre is for 300 people. So a big wedding on a Saturday night would be quite overwhelming in the village of Berrima. Love a museum, love a cafe, a bit of retail. We've had various cultural organisations say it'd be great for performances, whether theatre, music. We could have book fairs, book readings. We've had a lot of people come in with great ideas, and we think that the current iteration lacks imagination.
We did have a chat to Dan, who's the architect, and he spoke to us about the function centre inside. Now, obviously, operationally, that comes down to the hotel management and hotel operation as to when they would actually allow that function space to operate. He seemed to think that it would be during the day in the courtyard, not of an evening on a Saturday night. Would that placate Berrima residents?
In the documents, the EI Environmental Impact Statement documents, they would like operational hours from 7 a.m. to midnight. We're basing our difficulties with the acoustics from that. So we've all been to weddings. They become pretty raucous after 10-ish when there's been a lot of celebrating. So there'll be music, celebrating, and after 10 it might become quite loud. A person who lives across the river on the western side of Wingecarribee River has told me he used to be able to hear the public announcements from the jail when the jail was operational. So he is very nervous about the prospect of 300 guests at a wedding on a Saturday night up to midnight.
I have a friend who lived in Berrima who said when she was a kid they used to throw their tennis balls over the wall and get really annoyed when no one would throw it back. And I think to that point, Jenny,
engagement, please.
Yeah. With the prisoners, there was a lot of engagement with the prisoners, from what I heard. Not quite like that.
Well, that's it. You know, it's only 2020, is that right? It was still an operational jail. There were still inmates. Would you prefer it to go back to that?
No, that's not an option. So we parked that. It's been decommissioned and sold. So that's the end of the jail.
Can you tell me a little bit about your organisation? Are you basically mainly Berrima residents? Is the concern coming specifically from Berrima itself or more broadly in the community, Jenny?
So Eric had a stroke of genius at the beginning of the year to sublease the old post office. And so we've been in there since the 21st of February talking to people, and we've talked to residents and we've talked to visitors. We've talked to, where am I up to? I think it's 1,400 people at the moment. So we've had a lot of chats. And so that's where they're very supportive of what we're trying to do, and that's the basis of what we're trying to do too. And that includes residents coming in, having a chat.
So if you're outside of Berrima though, if you're Greater Southern Highlands and you're against it or you're concerned about it, they should come into Berrima and have a chat with you guys. But if they're also for it and love it, should they come into Berrima and have a chat with you guys?
Absolutely. absolutely. We've had 6 people come in who are for the project out of our 1,400. So
I can't imagine too many people would be coming in to say they're for it. So I would imagine that your 1,400 would be quite biased anyway because of the frontage and signage you have outside the actual post office itself. I'm curious to know of the Greater Highlands, how many people are actually for its current form and how many are not educated on what its current form is.
We've had quite a lot of people in from around the place, Bowral, Berrima, Exeter, Penrose, Burrawang, and I think I could say 100% of those people have been concerned about it. So communication, as you know, is a big issue. So we've been diligent about communicating, or trying to. You know the problem of communicating. But so we welcome everyone in, everyone from Bowral, wherever, and we're happy to have conversations. And listen to views. That's one of our important, listening to people's views.
Would their views actually change yours at all once you've listened to them?
No, not really, because our starting point was no new construction outside the jail walls. We're strong on that. We want to respect the heritage. The heritage walls they're the most important part of the jail. They're built in 1839 and 1866. We need to preserve them, including the views and the vistas to and from the walls. So we're not going to change our mind on that. What we will change our mind on is what's inside.
Right, yeah, that's fair enough. So long as we have the wellness centre, I'm happy. Are there other organisations within...
Rachel, we disagree on that.
Where am I going to have my facial in the middle of a museum? Are there other organisations in Berrima that are also aligned with your group, or is it just you're the main one?
No, there's the Berrima Residents Association, which takes a similar position to us, which is no new construction outside the jail walls. But they're a much more formal organisation. So they've got members and they're an incorporation, but they agree with us, or we agree with them, either way.
And to be fair, I think there is also, is it One Berrima? There's another organisation as well. They have a different viewpoint as well. Is that correct?
They do. Yeah, they do. Yeah, correct. They do have a different view.
Yeah. It's really hard to know what's happening. When people could see the designs, I felt they may have shifted some people's attitudes.
Where I had a bet with Paul Nemeth prior to the open day that the Blue Sox would not put on display the Western Wall images. I won the bet. The reason for that is that that's the most startling image. So they didn't have that on display. All the artist's impression inside, they're delightful. You'd be happy to stay there. But that's what they are, is the artist's impression, but they didn't have our primary problem, which is the Western Wall. The state significant development requires a public consultation period and the exhibition is of the what's called the Environmental Impact Statement. That is a 46-document, 2,700 pages worth of public exhibition. So it's a pretty onerous thing for the community to do. So what we're doing is trying to encourage people to come in and talk to us about what their concerns are, and we can point them to somewhere within those 2,700 pages to help frame their submissions. But it is, and plus all the documents are written in architectural and design language, which is quite challenging for the layperson. And again, that's how we want to help people.
And also, every submission has to be independent. It can't be, they can't have read someone else's submission or be in consultation with someone else's submission. Is that right?
It has to be what's called unique. So you can't copy and paste your partner's or your mother's, or it has to be in your words. You can use quotes from their documents and quotes from heritage statements, but you can't. Your own words have to be your own words.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jenny.
Do you have a website or anything anyone can go to?
Yes, we do. It's berrimaheritagematters.com.au, but our main online communication is Instagram and Facebook. So we're Berrima_heritage_matters on Facebook. Come and see what we do.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jenny. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it is interesting that everybody is obsessed by the wall, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't find the wall that beautiful. Is that contentious?
Well, look, I don't mind it. I know that in their plans, the wall down Wilshire, is it Wilshire Street? That's going to just remain as it is.
Right,
They're not actually touching that. So there's not going to be any difference to the wall there.
You know what? I actually think there's a broader discussion we need to have, which is around heritage and heritage towns, a heritage town like Berrima, and should old buildings be museums or should they be working and brought to life?
I think they need to be working. I think they need to be in action. And I think there needs to be reference to history, consistent reference to history. We can't lose our history, and we want the future generations to know our history, but you can't shove it down their faces with a museum and a book fair.
In some ways, Berrima is at a bit of a crossroads. It used to be oldie worldy, Berrima tourist town. I think contemporary tourism is different.
Contemporary tourism is different. Berrima isn't. Still remains a heritage, historical style village. But, Berrima has tried. They had the Vault House, which failed miserably and became Citizen Kane, which apparently is doing better. I found that an interesting place to open a private club was Berrima. You've got, the Cupcake Shop does really well. That's really cute and sweet. But it's all cute and sweet again, right? So I do
Mrs.
think,
Oldbuck's is the jam store.
we love their jams. They are delicious. I'll give you my address. Anyway,
and the pub. You've got the
The
pub.
Surveyor General's awesome, particularly the pub choir night when Darren Percival is singing. It's so good. You just got to go in there and belt out Oklahoma or something. That's great. And you've also got, some really fantastic residents and creative residents there as well. I love that Berrima River Walk. Josh's is good. Echelot's there. But I do feel that you walk through town in the middle of the week and it's tumbleweed.
Yeah.
And those businesses need injections and they need more vibrancy. But the residents don't necessarily want that. They move there for some peace and quiet.
The interesting thing is, remember though, well, you wouldn't remember, but I remember the highway, the Hume Highway used to go through Berrima. I actually see a lot of potential in this project. I think the architectural approach is very interesting to me.
So is that your personal opinion or council's opinion?
No, that's definitely my personal opinion.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I think it's great. But then, I'm from Sydney, so I'm all about anything that's going to remind me of home. You've been listening to So Highlands. Thank you so much. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. See you next time.
Thank you. That's So Highlands, Rachel.
Thanks for listening to the So Highlands podcast. If you like what you hear, be sure to review and subscribe via your favourite podcast platform, like @So Highlands Pod on Instagram and @So Highlands on Facebook and YouTube.